Now, the other day, the parliamentary watchdog released the annual Senate debate scorecard. And your favorite nominated senator, known more for the Mjulus that she rides as opposed to a cerebral wherewithal, performed dismally. In fact, she ranked among the 3 least active senators. Who is surprised? I ain't. I've written about that woman innumerable times, interminably even. And that is part of the reason I came to TikTok, because I felt you all were not getting me lucidly enough. That bad up that we now affably refer to as X. Now, I'm referring to Karen Nyamu. A section of the media had a field day with that story because baby girl is everywhere doing everything except what she was nominated to do, and that is to legislate and to debate. Here's my 2 cents. Political parties, in their quest for affirmative action and gender parity shenanigans, should stop nominating women who have the width of a basket just because either they're easy on the eyes, or they're simply party supporters, or they vied and lost, or they're somebody's parama in the party. Parama means lover, for those of you who only read condom packets and the tukos and pashas. Now, it makes the rest of us look bad. Am I a paladin? Albeit an aggrieved one. And that is why sometimes mupiga kelele pale Twitter. But nyumba yenyu hata kama ina leak, utapiga tu kelele, huyu fundi alifanya kazi mbovu, but utahama uende kwa jirani. So this video is not informed by any iota, any modicum of belligerence towards the lady or the party. In fact, I find her to be a stunning woman, and I support her pro-polygamy shenanigans. But she's not the only female legislator with a personal and social life. You know, as an MP, if you're known more for the brouhaha, I don't know, you caused, where controversies tied to whose husband you've snagged this time around, or who you're screwing, or asinine utterances that you made I don't know where. Generally, unbecoming conduct, both in and outside the chambers, it's a purvey that you do not belong there. Rudi ukae na sisi streets. Now, if you ask me, there are 2 significant reasons why Karen Nyamu cannot debate. Number 1, she has the IQ of a jaboa. Jaboa, some rodents, some rats that are normally found in desert areas. And you should Google some of these things. I cannot be speaking and explaining. It takes me out of the train of my thought. Number 2, poor public speaking skills, you know? Or, let me just say, she lacks communication skills in general. So this informs her lackluster performance in the Senate, because she's not the brightest bulb in the chandelier. Take a look at these videos, then let's come back.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I want to thank you for the patience and the skill that you have handled this with. You can imagine it was not easy at all to sit ground, but our party leader made sure that we are all in agreement, and he made us to see the bigger picture so that we can deliver the presidency, because we want nothing short of the presidency in this county. I want to urge, on this country, sorry, I want to urge all. My name is Senator Karen Nyamu. I know he has introduced me as a senator for Nairobi, but we know we elected a senator who is busy with the maandamano. So I have taken over the job that he was elected to do, because he should be in such a critical occasion, right? I want to really appreciate the work and the contribution of Justice Nyamu in the conservation of wildlife and that role that he's playing. The conservation of wildlife and the environment is very key in the Kenya Kwanza government. We know the goals that the president has set.
So, did you hear what I just heard? In the first video, baby girl says something about, want to thank you, I think addressing the president, and for your patience, and for how you handled your skills. Who handles skills? Skills are things that you either acquire or dispense. she will shock you further and say something about wanting nothing short of the presidency on this country. Baffling, right? Befuddling, flabbergasting. If I'm being modest, but it's quite frankly nauseating. How can an adult be that inane in public in the full glare of everyone? Because a CBC kid, still at the playgroup level, knows the correct phrase is in this country. No, your senator is supposed to be your legislator, represent you, and play the oversight role in the Senate, does not know whether the right phrase is in this country or on this country. Now, in the second video, she takes a cheap swipe at Sifuna, but goes further to fumble and expose her vacant mental plates. Or let me just say that, here's the interesting part. Karen Nyamu is a trained lawyer. She's a freaking lawyer. Oh yeah, learned friends, what happened to your curriculum? Nowadays, you're churning out charlatans and ignoramuses. You see, no one was born a virtuoso at public speaking or intellectually curious. These are things that are cultivated. They are nurtured. If you ask me, I'm still en route. I'm still endeavoring to harness mine. Now, wale watu wa kizungu is not a measure of intelligence. Please sit your makalio down. The crux of this conversation is Senate. They only have one job, to legislate. Hawana budget. Mtu kama Sudi ukiniambia haongei bunge, lakini najua constituency yake, watoto wamepata basari on time, anajua kutafuta resources za kujenga infrastructure. Mtu kama hiyo nitaelewa, lakini senator kazi yake ni moja, kuongea. Kama mtu aongei hapo ndani anafanya nini hapo ndani? No. Mtu mwenye aongei kwa Senate anafanya nini Senate? Juhana budget. Siati kuna kitu wanatusaidia naye apart from hiyo moja kazi tumewapatia. So huwezi kuatia hapa nje uko perepere, but where we need your perepere hauko, then you have no business being there. And Kenyans, let's have a candid conversation on this. Your intellectual capacity, tafadhali, given that hata ulienda law school. Now, this is not about measure of intelligence. It's about the ability to comprehend and articulate. If you cannot communicate, then clearly you don't comprehend. It means you don't even comprehend the duties conferred on you when you were nominated. So tafadhali, that is the crux of this conversation. If you cannot communicate, then it means you do not comprehend. Now, wacha niwaache na video ya a nominated lady mwenye alikuwa nominated na Azimio. She's differently abled. No, nowadays we don't say akona disability. She's differently abled. Crystal, hear her speak, and then you will comprehend why I made this video. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I do agree that recently we've been hearing of KRA in the news on different issues, and some of those issues are not being taken too well by Kenyans in general, not just county government accounts, Mr. Speaker, but also very recently, as you know, this week on the 28th of February, the KRA chairperson ordered a directive to suspend all tax exemptions, waivers, abandonments, and reliefs across the country, citing issues of leakages in revenue, trying to streamline the process of KRA. Mr. Speaker, these kinds of issues are very critical to Kenyans, of national importance and concern. Mr. Speaker, as you know, persons with disabilities are amongst the most vulnerable members of our population today, battling historical exclusions and deeply rooted inequalities across all areas of life, including health, well-being, education, social, economic, cultural, and political spheres. Not to mention, Mr. Speaker, the systemic oppression and discrimination.
Mumesikia Crystal?